Let me take a moment now that we've got the recording started that we are the Easthampton Community Garden meeting of July 1st, Thursday evening, 7:20 p.m. We've convened and declared a quorum to start. On our standard agenda, we always start with a public comment period. There are no members of the public that are present.
Right.
No, we are not. We are committee members. We're not.
Well, Alyssa's not on the committee, is she? Or unless she.
No. Garden. I mean, what I mean is the garden community.
Gotcha.
This is for folks who aren't.
Okay.
So try to straighten that out. So no one is here for that. We will move ahead to the acceptance of the minutes. Let me do this. I hope everyone had a chance to. The minutes were attached as they always are. I hope people had a chance to look at them, but if you'd like, I'm happy to post it right there. These are the minutes from our last meeting of June 3rd.
I can't read that. But I'm sure they're fine. I can't read it.
Okay. So all those who were present, and Alyssa, I don't think you were present at the last meeting.
Right.
Okay. So I'll accept a motion to accept the minutes.
I motion to accept the minutes.
Johnson does. Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, Leona, second. Okay. Any comments or corrections needed for the minutes? Seeing and hearing none, the motion is to accept the minutes. All in favor of acceptance? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I hear none. The minutes are accepted unanimously. We next move on to the treasurer's report. In this regard, our treasurer is unable to join us at this moment. So she did, however, forward an email. If you'd like, I can put that email up for those who didn't see it. Everyone see it?
Yeah, but I can't see.
Oh, except for you. Okay, no problem. Anyway, so Nicole wrote that she has a migraine and can't attend. The spreadsheet is up to date. We are bringing the original receipts that we have to the city. So I delivered the original oversum receipts. And the city now has them. We can take a moment to make sure that we have this correctly. So when we are using a city vendor and charging it, it is important not only so that we can properly invoice the city, but apparently for other reasons, to get a receipt. That original receipt that you get, the best thing to do in the first instance is to try to scan it if you can, or take a photo of it and forward that to Nicole. The second step is that the original of that receipt needs to be collected and brought to the city. I'm happy, if people can't get to the city, I'm happy to collect the receipts and bring them myself or whatever to make sure that they have them rather than try to mail them. But just remember that there's really a two-pronged process. One is to have a reproduction of the receipt, forward it to Nicole so she knows and she can mark it accordingly in our side, our ledger. And then secondly, to get the actual original receipt to the city. And people can contact me, and I'm happy if you can't do that because I can run, to the city as I do periodically anyhow. Okay, so if you look at the, if we go back now to the minutes. Are the minutes back up on the screen?
No, Nicole's email's still there.
Okay, hold on a second. Oh, Nicole's email. Okay, hold on, billing on. Sorry, hold on a second. Well,
Having trouble finding what the.
I have it up on my screen, but I can't. This is going to be Nicole's. Okay, I don't want that anymore, so I'm just going to stop the share on that. I'm going to back up. I'm going to hit the share start again. Do we have the minutes back up?
Yes, we do.
Okay, sorry. So anyway, we can look at the link. So
There it is.
okay, so she reported that it's up to date.
That means that everybody's paid up?
That and that, she's entered all the
Hey, Stephen, could you hit the down the bottom, the three? Could you hit the PO and invoices? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got that. There we are.
Oh, right. So this shows whether they've been paid or not, or just know that they've been entered?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking to see here.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Bear Path got paid because that's been a while.
I'm pretty sure they got paid. I know Flurry did get paid for the lawnmower tune-up. I'm looking to see. Yeah, the invoices are numbered, but that's.
And one for the weed whacker too, right?
Yeah, that was there. And that invoice I had scanned and sent to her, so.
Might be in process.
Yeah, so in terms of Bear Path, this is not showing, right? It's not showing any invoice. It's with the exception of what that 635 is for Bear Path and 5.8, if that's in fact the invoice.
Yeah, that would be the one. That was when we got
okay. Oh, that is okay. All right.
The compost.
Okay.
Hey, Stephen, go down to where the bottom is, where the little bar is.
Yeah.
On the left, the rectangular bar on the bottom left, right above running balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then click on that and drag it over.
Where you want me to drag?
Click on that bar right there, yeah, and drag it over. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not seeing. Yeah, that's where it'd be nice to have Nicole here.
All right. Well, we can send her questions, I guess.
Okay.
She had another tab though, that had showed what had been paid. I remember from the last meeting. It might be if we go back, if you click on the tab below where it says running balance and click on that again, and then scroll down from those names and see what else is there. Yeah, no, okay.
You click on PO and invoices?
That's what we were just on.
Yeah, he was on that one already.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, I misspoke about Bear Path. Okay. So they're there at the 635.
Yeah, right.
Well,
I can't imagine they haven't been paid because Flurry was paid And I know those purchases were pretty much around the lawnmower tune-up and the compost were ordered. That was probably around the same time period.
Is there a way that for the future that she can record something on these spreadsheets indicating whether they've been paid or not? Is that possible?
It's there. I know she had something else pulled up last time. It was a little bit. There was a different format here. There was a different setup.
She also told me she had submitted one to Easthampton Feed for some stuff that I charged there, and I assume it's still in process. But it'd be good to know because these small.
I'm looking at this now. If you look under Bear Path.
Yep.
That third row, it says total expenses GY 21 $635.
Yep.
There's a remainder of 65. So my guess is it's paid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just looking at the math there, because there was a rollover from last year of 600, and an increase of 100 approved. That was 700.
Less the 635.
So 65. Yeah. So my guess is it's been paid.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just think, and we can, give our feedback to Nicole, whatever way we can include that in a definitive way in these reports, I think would be helpful to me.
Yeah, that's something we can just double check with.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a simple matter. I could, she can put an asterisk by it or however she wants to note it. You know what I'm saying? And then we're not confused.
Yeah,
I think all of us just have a lot of worry about the fact that in the past we haven't paid certain vendors on time.
Yeah, and that guy did us a solid. So
he did.
We don't ever want to. We don't want
to. Easthampton Feed. I mean, it's a local business. I mean, I don't want them to have to wait too long.
Okay. All right.
I think under the circumstances, well, what do we want to do? Do we want to vote approval of the treasurer's report or vote hold?
My guess is probably hold, because really she's not here to explain it. And
sure.
Okay, so why don't we do that? Is there a motion to hold?
I'll make a motion to hold on that for now, on the treasurer's report.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of hold?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone in opposition? Hearing none. The report is held. And with a note that we just want some clarification, and particularly follow up to make sure that if we have an update on what's actually gone out the door and paid.
Yes.
Okay, but otherwise, actually, the numbers seem to look right, at least for them.
The numbers look good. I mean, There's still money in all the accounts, so that's always a good thing.
Okay. So we'll turn to our operations report. Frank?
Well, I went up there to fix a hose, and Mark just replaced it. So, Mark, that hose is pretty swanky looking too.
I know. I was just sitting there, and I said, "Gee, somebody ought to use this." And my thing has been leaking at the faucet for a long time.
Yeah, no, and I went up with the wrong screwdriver. I had everything to fix it, so.
And then Stephen or somebody bought some new nozzles, and so I grabbed one of those too. And
we had new nozzles.
So.
And I mowed up in the top the other day. That's the one thing we're probably going to want to do is we got to get a mowing crew together. We finally got a lot of rain this evening, so. But I mowed it pretty low, and I think Cheryl had mowed some as well. And I'm going to have to do a weed inspection. I'm not going to do it this weekend because it's a holiday weekend, but we'll send an email out. I'm going to do it on the weekend of the 10th. So I'm going to do the weed inspection on Sunday, the 11th. And usually what I've done in the past, and last year I slacked on it, I'm going to do a walk around this weekend, and the ones that need immediate attention, I'll just send a nice gentle nudge to folks. There's a couple of people that need some help, and so we can certainly do that, help out if we can. And I know this will probably eventually, listen, we're going to get to the
The plot
Thistle
that
hell, the thistle hell.
weeds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just wait and
We need
find
some beetle that just eats thistle roots or something.
Right.
it. Yeah, let's get that.
No, we put it on that'll be on the chef's menu, we'll make it like they did those lionfish.
We need a natural solution.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Eat them.
That's
I don't have a whole lot more to add than that. We do have a new string trimmer and that we got at Flurry, and that's a good thing. It's a smaller one. It's easier to handle. So we'll probably need to help some people learn how to use it.
Yeah, I've forgotten already, Frank, so I need a tutorial. Next time, let me know next time you're headed up to the garden.
Yep.
Frank, did you say we need
Yeah,
a
Mark.
mowing crew?
Repeat that.
Did you say we need a mowing crew?
Well, we're gonna need, because really I've been mowing and Cheryl has, but nobody else really has. So,
Should I put out an email?
yeah, and they can have them get in touch with me.
There were others interested, so it's not.
Yeah, and that's all I need to know, because then I could get folks up there. Maybe, if they all can't come at once, I can at least get a couple different groups and show them how to use the mower, how to clean it. There's plenty of gas, so that's not an issue. And I'll need to get a little money from petty cash, because I was buying the gas with my own money. So it's like $10 so far. And I'm trying to think of anything else right now. The weeds are going to be the biggest thing. Other than that, I think everything else is going pretty well. Other than I did buy a bag of gravel at Aubuchon. I didn't get the receipt. I'll make an in-kind donation. I put it in front of the water turn on because it was getting a little soupy there.
That was really nice. I noticed that.
Yeah. No. We need another one, actually. So that one I'll buy and get the receipt. But yeah, we're gonna need to keep. We're gonna have to get a lot of mowing done.
Could I just ask a question about that? Yeah, because so in front of the water spigot area for the main one for all the hoses, the little hut, the pump house there.
Yes.
Is it a leak, or is it just because of sort of people using the hose and stuff? Okay, granted, I just came back, so I don't know what it's like this year, but I don't know if it was a leak in the past or if that was just from water use there, or.
It's a leak in there, and the city claims that it's not in the part that they would fix. And Broadbrook went and did a test. I saw the guy digging up there. It was last year, I think. And it's not in their pipes. So it's really probably with the city. And
Is that a health issue with all that standing water? It seems like an awful lot of it this year.
It seems like there's more this year than last year. If the water's turned off, it's really not as bad. And people have been good about. I mean, when I've gone up there, I have in the last 2 weeks, I have not found the water left on. But that does bring me to another thing. Going up there, I went up there 3 times. Well, 3 times last week I went up there and the shed was unlocked.
Yeah, I found it unlocked too.
In the evening. So we really need that's something that we need to send out and remind people.
Yes, okay.
I'm not quite sure, what's going on, why people are forgetting. And the latch to the old that we put there for the combination lock, it's closed. But the door is unlocked still, and we just got to remind people that it's.
I wonder if people, sometimes when we leave the garden, we ask somebody, "Do you still need the shed? Do you still need the water?" And it might be that people say, "Yeah, I need it," but then they don't have a key.
Right.
I think everybody, it should be part of membership going forward. Should get a key, and it should be, it should be billed as part of their.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to do that, we could make it $25 fee because you got to pay $5 for the key. Right?
Yeah, which is refundable. We always said that.
Yeah. No. Well, yeah. then we would get into it. If it's refundable, it's going to have to come through the city.
Oh, that's right.
You'd be better off having a petty cash type thing there.
You're probably right. Yeah.
So
Well-
that's something we can talk with Nicole.
All right, we need a communication out on that. And by
Yeah.
the way, Frank, why don't you, if you don't mind, can you email me, including like now, something like that, just the phone number? Because we were saying that we want to put a couple of phone numbers inside the shed so that those people who, for whatever reason, then find, oh, I don't have a way of locking the shed, can make a call so that we can go and get it locked. We talked about this
Right.
a couple of meetings ago, but I haven't gotten the phone number, Frank, that you want to use. So if you can email me that,
Okay.
then I will put that up in the shed.
And I have sent an email to the community telling them there'd be phone numbers in there.
Yes, right. And I've been waiting for that. And so Frank, if you can do that, that'd be great.
Could
No
I
problem.
volunteer? I don't know if it's appropriate because I'm not on the committee, but I don't know if I could volunteer to somehow facilitate something about that leak situation. Is there any role for me to like communicate, or I don't know if someone's already in it or on it. I don't want to step on toes about it, but
There's somebody who has mentioned that they could be in touch with somebody else.
Okay.
Meeting's being recorded, so I'm not using any names.
okay, that's all right. So it's covered, you're saying?
Somebody who can talk to somebody to get something done in the city. I'll put it-
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, I'm interested and available if there's any role for another
Okay.
on that.
Yeah, because that really does need to be addressed, and you know it is not an issue with too much rain or something like that. We've gone through very dry spells, and it's still an issue.
Yeah.
I've been dragging the hose down there to the donation garden because it's the one most available. And I tell you, it is just mushy there all the time
Yep.
for the last several weeks.
No, that's right. We always joke we should grow rice there. You know?
We should. I got the rice.
You do.
I do.
So yeah, I think just to get back to the shed thing for a minute though too, I really want to. We really need to remind people to lock that shed because
Yeah.
there are things in there that.
No, you don't have to explain. We all agree. So let's get that going. Let's get that sheet up and get the notice out. Alyssa, to the point that you're not this or you're not that on the committee. This is like an open committee of volunteers.
Oh, okay.
So you are.
Okay.
If
Sounds
you want to be
Thank you
on
for
it,
attending. And if there's something that you would particularly, of the kind of things that we do, if there's something that you really particularly
I'll be
want
right
to
back.
focus on, please feel free to be it, kind of like operations with, that we've just been talking about, or donation garden, or whatever it is. We just need folks to help out. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty good with operations, sort of generally. I guess that's my
Excellent.
okay.
Excellent.
nature. Yeah.
Well, that'd be no, and thank you incidentally for the whole thing with the thistles and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's an area where I could,
Yeah.
ensure people when we get to that. So.
While we're on the topic of operations, I noticed the other day that the compost in the far end has been, what's happened with that? Looks like it's disappeared.
The far end.
In other words, on the, what would be the south end of the,
Yeah.
down the slope.
It disappeared.
Unless I was kind of like, I kind of went over there and said, boy, this looks like it's been kind of like, I don't know, it just, maybe,
different.
I don't know. I'll have to look at it again. I just thought maybe someone had an update about that. Okay. Maybe it was just me. I used the area, but I don't know. Well, that's great, Alyssa, that to join in on the operations is terrific. Let's move on to outreach. Margie, internal outreach, any update?
Hang on a second, I'm just looking something up. Any updates? No, not really. There's been more people reaching out to people this year for help, which I think is good. Caitlin Bunning needs help reading. Also, I advised her to reach out to people and to Deb. I don't know if she did. Yeah, it's really calmed down a lot, you know, from the beginning of the season. It usually stays pretty calm until the end, and then it's a little busy, and then next season gets busy again. But I know Alyssa really needs to talk about her thistle, and we've been waiting for this meeting to figure something out. And what I understand is that this is something that I've been trying to help her with, that we don't really have a policy, as I understand, for someone whose garden turns out to be unmanageable, for them to like give it back and get a new one, assuming there's a new one available.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, personally for me right now, it's really, really no problem. I'm coming in so late. I'm, you know, it's no problem. It's, you know, if anything, I feel badly because I know I wasn't there to manage that situation that I have been managing for all these years. So it's just, you know, I did my best. I mean, like literally, and I do not mean this as a complaint, but I did pay someone $100, right? To be in there. 5 hours, 5.5 hours I paid her. I mean, it's just, so I'm just saying that's more just like evidence of how really much of an issue it is. And like, I just really wouldn't recommend that anybody try to garden in there. It's, I mean, I've been managing it for all these years.
Right.
Constant, right? And I went for that plot because the soil is great in there, and I made it even better. It's great soil. So there it is. Yeah.
That's why the thistles keep coming back. They like it there.
They love it.
And that's the thing with it too. That person that you paid, if they didn't really know how to how to dig it out, because you gotta, you gotta go deep.
I know. I mean, I did give her direct instruction. I mean, that's where I can't control, but I am happy to try to, you know, work with that situation. If you guys want some kind of collective effort to like deal with it, I'll solarize it or whatever. But it is just, it's not just that one corner plot. It's the 3 in that same quadrant.
Yeah, the one next to it in D2. There's a guy, Steven, who had it last year. Yeah. And I told him, look, you know, I can give you a hand with that if you need it, but you got to go down deep because it's all rhizome. And he spent an entire he's there a long time, and he did a good job because, at least for last year, it really wasn't coming up in his garden. He had a lot of carrots and cabbage and stuff like that. But, but that stuff is, and there's a field of it out there. So I'm going to go up there this weekend and dive in and scythe as much as I can and see what we can do.
I talked to a friend, I mean, because the thing is, it's not only, as you know, I'm not saying anything anyone doesn't know, but the rhizome itself, but any millimeter sized piece of vegetation that's left after you remove the rhizome will also develop, right? And then the seeds are coming in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I talked to a gardener friend who's recommended this natural, I should have written it down or looked at it before now, but it's called something like Burnout, and it's made out of like clove oil. And she recommended, you know, that maybe that would be another means to come in at it and, you know, spot treat it.
Yep. Could you get a hold of that person and get the name of it again? I've heard, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I think, remember the lady who had the garden? It was about, I think it was D3. She was an older woman. She had all the strawberries. I can't remember her name now.
Mm-hmm. I know who you're talking about.
She had mentioned the same thing to me.
Okay, I'll get it. Yeah.
So if you can find out what it is, then, you know, if we can order it, we can buy it through the garden, and then you know, if Abishan can get it or something, we can have them order it for us.
It's just another, I mean, it's not going to make it stop, but it's just.
It's not going to make it stop. I mean, this is just going to be something we're probably going to have. This is going to have to be part of our operation now, is to deal with this stuff and to try and manage it. Because we have to be careful. I mean, we border conservation land, so we're limited into what we can do for good reason.
Yeah.
So, you know, for now, at least I'll cut the ones down out there so the goldfinches don't start eating the seeds and depositing them everywhere else too. Yep. And they will. because they're great seeds. They're full of oil, and so. But yeah, listen, we'll try and, we're gonna need to try and figure this out. It might be interesting to talk to the extension at UMass and see what they say.
Oh, I could do that.
That would be. I'd be really interested to see, because we're not the only people in this valley that have problems, and there has to be farmers that have issues with this stuff. Now they may be able to use stuff that we can't use because we're organic.
Yeah.
And we border the conservation land as well.
Yeah.
But they may have some answers, at least for how to mitigate some of it.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Oh, that would be awesome if you do that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm writing myself a note. Yeah, and then about Margie, thank you so much for, being concerned about replacing the plot. If something comes up and it's like a great plot and it's close to my other one or something, I'll be like, okay, maybe I'll take it over. Otherwise, I'm not going to worry about it right now at all. So.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a tough situation.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that stuff is like, I saw it in my garden the first time this year. They were just little ones, seed ones, but
they're coming.
Nah, man, they're not gonna win.
Oh no!
They're not gonna win.
I'm sad. I mean, that's the only thing is I literally feel like mourning. I'm like, I was almost crying. I was like, I'm gonna let this go, and it's just.
You always have a beautiful, like the sweet potatoes that you all grow down there. They're awesome.
Yeah,
man.
It's great soil. So.
Yeah. We'll figure it out, but I think we definitely want to try and save that plot.
I was helping a farmer this past spring on Orcas Island, which is off the coast of Washington State, like out in the ocean, and there were thistles. I did thistles for him. Those exact species. So it was
the road on the back of orcas.
Yeah. Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, those birds, man, they carry it.
Do you know the name of the species, Alyssa?
I don't. I've never even, I'm like, I don't even want to know, but I'll find out.
I think Deb knew it, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah.
She pulled a lot up.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know if she got it all.
It's so many hours. It would be interesting to actually count the value of the hours, right? Because I was paying this person like $20 an hour, but it's like, oh my God, it's hundreds, thousands of dollars worth of hours.
Okay. Margie, can I, as to put a wrap on your report, as at this juncture, wholly apart from the D1 problems, we've got everyone in a plot now.
Yeah. We do.
Okay, and no one's indicated that they plan to abandon or have abandoned.
The abandoned people have all checked in and said they were leaving, and the plots were offered to people on the waiting list.
Yeah.
And now the only people on the waiting list are 2 people who are sharing plots. So there's really nobody who's on the waiting list who's not gardening.
Okay, so basically,
it's all done.
Yeah, waiting list is basically a list of people who don't have plots. So everyone's got plots.
Right.
Yeah, great.
And
Okay.
there's no one on the waiting list, really.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can make it through. That's good.
My work here is done.
Okay. Eric, external outreach?
Yep. Nothing big. Got some pictures of Marge the cat posted out there.
Okay.
I'll get some pictures of the garden in general. The next time we have a nice sunny day, I'll go post it. And any emails that we send out, if it's the stuff about the shed, if we get the email twice and it's important, I'll post a cajoling reminder to everybody in the Facebook group.
Okay.
But yeah, nothing big. I haven't had any problems. Oh, the links, the solution that we're using, the Google Drive, is working great for dispensing the minutes and the agendas. So that'll get us through the year as long as we keep going that way.
Excellent. Okay. Donation garden.
Yeah, looking good. So fortunate to things have worked out. we did ask for some volunteers to help with the weedage, which was almost overwhelming there, and about half of it. And had a couple people tell me, and then we got rained out, and we rescheduled. And Jen Burrell was the woman who showed up, and she was fantastic. She pitched in, and she worked both Saturday and Sunday to help me get the weeds out definitively out of the little raised beds, and then also to put some wood chips in the pathways in between. In addition, I was able to get Bob Mason, the rototill guy, to come and plow out the large area there that we were going to use for squash, and he did a great job. And got stuff planted, keeping an eye on it. I can probably use some help with weedage right now. I don't mind doing most of the watering, but the weeding probably I could use some help. So maybe I'll talk with Margie and we can send out something to ask for some help with weeding.
Who was it who helped you on the weeding?
Jen Burrell.
Jen Burrell?
Yeah, she was great. She just came on a Saturday morning and said, how can I help? And she spread some, I had gotten some bags of topsoil to kind of supplement what was in the beds. And she spread that. And
Mark, when would you estimate there'll be anything, coming up?
That's a good question. The tomatoes are really, I mean, I haven't seen any fruit yet, but the plants are looking great. I would say it's still going to be a while. The turnips are coming in like crazy, and I know my own turnips, but it's mostly leafage right now. I still think it's going to be a while, Stephen, because that was like, after I got my garden started, I got into the...
I didn't see any blooms on the peppers, did you?
I don't know, not recently, although things are changing on a daily basis. I was up there before it rained today and tonight, and squash plants are branching out, and the
all right.
Cucumbers. So yeah, we're getting there, but I don't think it's going to happen within the next couple of weeks. But I'll keep you posted because I know you're thinking about the community center.
Well, yeah, starting up. I did. Laura had indicated that she was going away, and she had some snow peas. So I actually harvested them and delivered them this past Monday.
Oh, great.
But that's about it. I don't know whether or not anyone has seen anything that looks harvestable that people can now start the contributions. I mean, I've got the coolers out there, but now I'm gonna put ice in them this weekend. So
you want me to send out a?
Well, I think. I mean, if people have things, I mean, obviously there's the lettuces and the peas, and that should be ready. If nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody who has something can give a little bit, it'll add up.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, you can tell folks that my intention is to go by Monday morning and see what there is to deliver.
Right. I mean, I always told them just leave something by Sunday evening at the latest.
Sure. Or first thing in the morning on Monday is fine too.
Well, except I don't want to miss you because you usually go there for 9 o'clock, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying if they're going to get it right there earlier than that, then that's fine too.
Yeah, I'll just tell them by 9 a.m. on Monday.
Or again, if they can't harvest themselves, to tell us what can be harvested.
Okay.
Okay.
I can offer to, because I'm in A6, which is right next to the donation garden, and normally I've kept the path clear between the two, but I've been away, but I can get back on just sort of keeping that path clear.
Thank you.
Right up to the bed, so.
Wonderful.
Excellent, thanks. Okay, next is gardener feedback. I don't see any of our gardeners necessarily, but that actually leads into our main item of new business, which is, again, we've had some back and forth on this already, but this is the accessibility issue relating to D12. And this is the question. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that, we've had internal communication going back and forth on this. We did, I mean, as we explained, we need to check with the city. We've made an inquiry to the planning department. They've responded, although I haven't seen any further update from Jeff Bagg, the planning director, who was going to go over there to take a look. I think we all agree that, we should make the efforts, we should make as great an effort as possible to make our garden as accessible as possible so that it can be used by folks. I know that we've given some thought here about whether or not there are better plots that might be more accessible by, going forward. But apart from that, I do think that we have to, I don't think we should, having contacted the city, be a whole different, we should kind of be like of one mind, because it's going to be confusing for the city if we're kind of split between, oh, there should be something off the parking lot as compared to something further down. So any thoughts about this?
Yeah, I do. I have a few things. I think the first thing I think we should do and is when we have the application process, we should ask people to specify if they have a documented disability so that we can give them priority for a first choice on a plot that is closest to the parking area. And that's for a couple of reasons. First is for just the accessibility. And if there's an issue with that slope that goes down from the parking area, then that's something that the city can help us with. And second of all, where the plot is located, this particular gardener needs help with, it's all the way, it couldn't be further from the parking lot. There's no way to get further from the parking lot. And to put in a stair at that end of the garden, where that person is going to park their vehicle then becomes an issue. That's something I want to bring up in the new business. We really want to discourage people from parking their cars on the road there or in front of the house that's across the street, who are our neighbors. The people who lived in that house previously, they fought to not even let this community garden exist, or they didn't want it there across from their property. So I really don't want to, if we can avoid even having an issue come up where the residents in that house are starting to be annoyed by people parking, off the road in front of their house. There's a reason why we have a parking lot. And I don't know how just a couple of stairs there is really, I don't see how that's going to make it that much more accessible. And it's just going to invite people to park down at that end where we really, for safety issues as well, we don't need people parking there. The cars, it's not the safest street. There are cars that fly down that road. Cheryl almost got hit on her bicycle last year, just coming out of the parking lot. So I think my main concern is if, especially if someone has a disability and we can accommodate them, then that we really want to try and prioritize getting them a plot up close to the parking area.
Agreed. That's the plan. It should be the plan.
And it's something that, this issue really hasn't come up before. And so, okay, here it is. And I think that's where, as a collective, as a committee, I think we can really put our heads together, because the person, with this plot and with this request, misunderstood an email of mine where I wanted this person to reply all to the committee, and I think the person thought reply all to everybody. I went back and checked my emails, and the first one was a little ambiguous. The second one was very specific about committee. So I just think there was a misunderstanding there. No harm done. But I do think that, this is something we got to figure out and have as a policy going forward, because, we want everybody to be able to garden if they can. Yeah, Marge.
Well, I think accessibility is really important. However, I don't think we can ask people, do you have a documented disability? It's none of our business. But
well, they could volunteer the information.
Wait. What you can put on an application is, do you need an accommodation?
Okay, yeah.
And if then someone needs an accommodation, they get back to you and you find out do they have a physical issue? Do they have to take an emotional support monkey with them everywhere? Stuff like that. But I was also thinking, instead of Well, the man, Stephen, you sent that email to in the city who said he would take a look.
Jeff Bagg. Yeah.
Jeff Bagg, it appeared to me that he was thinking on a different, he wasn't thinking of 2 stairs, he was thinking of wheelchair access
Yes.
to plots. So it might not be a bad idea if we could have some kind of wide path constructed that a wheelchair could go down in the area by the parking lot. And there's a woman in the Northampton Garden who is making an accessible plot she's taking forever and she's angering the committee, but it's a beautiful thing she's doing. She's creating these wooden paths in a plot that a wheelchair can go down.
Yes, correct.
With very little material. It's like she's not spending a dime. And
Yeah, Mark, go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, I mean, I'm not saying we use something like that, but if we could just, I don't know what wheelchairs can go on, but if we could get some kind of hardened surface down the hill from the parking lot, I don't know if we can or can't, but it would be pretty awesome. And as far as the stairs at the end go, I am totally bewildered why someone with such concerning disability issues would take a plot that far
Right.
from the parking lot.
Yeah,
And
it would have been nice to know ahead of time, so we could have advised the person to get something closer. And there were options for closer plots. if I'm not mistaken.
a few options back then, yeah, there were a lot of options. There were options in the A road and B also, I think. But I totally understand, Frank, your concern about parking on the road. However, there are times when that lot is full and you have to park on the road. So we just have to kind of specify to park as close to the shed as possible.
Right.
As close to the parking lot as
Okay.
possible.
We can designate a spot for people who need the accommodation. That doesn't solve the problem, because you're still right, Marty. If that just pushes out another car, that puts a car out on the road. I got it. But at least it wouldn't put the car out on the road for the person who needs the accommodation.
That's a good idea, yeah.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
So I'm just curious, this being a town sort of sponsored
Yeah.
project, doesn't it fall on
Yes.
them to make this ADA?
Yes, you're absolutely right. This is a public property, and you're absolutely right.
So they would provide the funding for any project that would be coming in to make that accessibility.
Hopefully.
Well, nothing's automatic. You're right in the sense that, is it subject to accommodation? Yes. Do we want it to be? Yes. What's going to be required? We don't know. That's what we're in the process of. And then in terms of monies for that, things still have to be appropriated through a process. So it's not like it necessarily follows that something has to be funded at a certain amount. But it's a discussion. But we're starting it. And we're starting it with the planning department, which is where it needs to start. So.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, no, I've never been through that process like with a city or a town, and I just sort of figured there would be some channel that would.
But you're right. You're right about that, though. It's a public entity.
Yeah. No, it is interesting that it hasn't really surfaced before now. I mean.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, and Marge, when you were talking about the person over in Northampton who was designing that plot, because I've seen, I've seen, read articles and seen videos of like, especially wheelchair accessible plots where they're raised beds, but they're raised by, 2 feet, 3 feet. And they're awesome. They look really cool. And that's
right outside my daughter's house. My daughter lives above a disability unit.
Yeah.
And right outside the unit, she's got some of those raised.
Yeah. No, they're really cool.
It's a great idea. We could, eventually down the road, maybe do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is you need to have a path that was safe enough to get down, with a wheelchair. It probably it would almost have to be a motorized chair, but I mean, but I don't, I'm not an expert on that. So, but I know somebody who is. I can ask somebody up at Holyoke Community College who works in the Office for Students with Disabilities and Deaf Services. So,
Because it would be not only, sort of like Becca, I think, was raising the issue of like, it's the angle of the slope, right? So that angle would be universally more accessible for somebody who had mobility issues, but not in a wheelchair, right? So like, it would be less of an angle.
yeah, I mean, if you've got, I would, just with ramps, there's got to be, specifics, there's code to that. That would have to be followed. We just have to know what that is, and that's where the city would have to come in and do their part. Sure, but I think it'd be awesome, man, to have that as a plug for the garden. So I mean, I don't know how well we're going to be able to accommodate this person this year, but it's certainly brought the issue up, and if we can do anything, we'll try and figure it out. I don't want to sit here and start just thinking of ideas off the top of my head.
I'm going to send her an email and tell her that we talked about it in committee and we're still looking into it, but we're not sure it can happen this year. Is that okay? I don't want to leave her hanging.
No, and if that's the case too, Margie, then we're gonna want to get that plot weeded.
I'll let her know. I'll tell her to ask us if she needs help.
And there's another problem with that plot. Whoever had it before put mint in there, and that is Bolton. That you are not supposed to have mint. You're not supposed to have B-bomb and all that kind of stuff up here. So, that's in the rules. But so we're gonna have to go. We'll have it bookended, Alyssa. We'll have thistle and mint and D12.
Yeah, perfect.
At least the mint, you can make tea. Well, you can make thistle has, it's got herbal,
Also, one more thing about that, if you're in the parking lot, and I notice this a lot because if you're going down the hill closer to the shed, right by the cars, it's very steep. But if you go over towards the shed, it's much more shallow, and it looks like it could accommodate some kind of a path for a wheelchair. I'm not an expert either, but I was thinking about that. Mm-hmm. So it might not be as direct, like some ramps go, they go like this way and that way.
Yeah, they zigzag. They what do you call it? Switchback.
And go straight up. So it might have to be something like that. And maybe if we built a boardwalk over the swamp, that would address.
Yeah.
Well, if you build that, you're gonna have to put in sonotubes. You got to go 4 feet to get below the freeze line.
Okay.
Hey, one other thing with the parking lot, we lost a space too when the people who donate those chips dump them there. So it might be good to have like maybe a volunteer project where we come up and literally move that pile over. Yeah. There should be another plot there. I mean, I'm sorry, there should be another parking space there.
There's not much left. There's a good time to do it. There's not a lot of.
Right. There's not a whole lot. And actually, I can get a hold of Laura. She knew the company. It was a tree cutting company, and they would just come by and dump chips for us now and then.
So should I put in this? I'm doing these like after meeting reports now to just put all the information in one email. Should I also ask for volunteers to move the wood chip pile and contact you?
Sure.
Yeah, we would just need to figure out a day to do it, and then get folks up there.
Well,
All right. Well, those are the two items for new business. Is there any other business people want to discuss?
Yeah, no, that was it. That's all I really had for new business,
Yeah. Okay.
that I could think of.
Is the garden like under some kind of organic certification, or is it just by spirit and effort organic?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have we don't have an organic inspector, so I mean, it's kind of an honor system in a sense.
Yeah.
Never really had a problem with that, and now, I mean, I was at the very first city meeting about the garden plots because I was excited. I had a plot over in Northampton, and then I didn't, this city really didn't have anything, and so that initial meeting, it wasn't just me, but I definitely brought it up. I'm like, this, it has to be organic, just because there will be people who want to practice that, and it's either all or nothing. And if it hadn't been, I don't think I'd probably have a plot up there to tell the truth.
Yeah. So
That's the way it's always been. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just when I talk to the extension agency, I didn't know if I should tell them like.
Oh, that you definitely want to tell, and you want to tell them that it borders conservation land.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because some things that you use, they travel underground and things like that. So, if any kind of a treatment, so to speak. I mean, I know vinegar would kill all that stuff, but it's going to kill everything in the soil too.
Yeah.
That's the only problem. I mean, I wouldn't mind using it up around like the pump house. But down there where you actually want to grow food, it would kill everything else in the soil.
Okay. Thank you.
And then everything you grew would smell like pickles. No, just a joke.
That's not bad. Stephen, I might have a short subject for new business, which is the so-called compost heap at the front end of the garden near the shed. What is the plan for how to maintain that? I know that was listed as a job, but I have no idea what we're supposed to be doing there or what should be done.
Yeah, I have this fantasy of getting folks up at the Park Hill Orchard to come down with their Bobcat and just push it all. And they did that one year. Maddie, who used to have a plot, he knew how to drive Bobcats. But I know them. I got a list going here now. I could talk to Russell or Elaine, see if.
Well, I guess the question is it really? It's described as a compost heap, but is it really?
You can't. There's too many weed things that go in there. Even if we designate, and we tried to do this in the past, we tried to designate one as weeds and one as compost, and
then more.
No, I mean, and people were throwing whole stalks of sunflowers in there instead of breaking them down like we'd asked, and there's good soil in there.
Yeah, I know. That's what I wondered.
I mean, I wouldn't put it in my garden because it's full of weed seeds, but we could certainly use it in the corridors. I wouldn't even put it in the paths, but in the corridors where, because there's places where the ground is sunk just from mowing, I can tell, and we could fill some places in like that. But I know one of the people that work. I'll talk to Russell in a minute.
So it's a weed pile, if you will, really.
It is, and the weeds do compost down. It's just that I know there's weed seeds in there. If it was just the greens from the weeds, it'd be fine. But I know there's seeds in there, and you don't want to put that in your pot. I wouldn't use it as compost in that sense. If we could put it in something that cooked it and killed, got it up to a high enough temperature to sterilize seeds, that would be great. But we don't really have that ability.
So that's another project like the bean farm.
Yes, exactly.
So Frank, are you saying that you don't think it's feasible really if we have the current quote unquote compost heap gone, you don't think it's feasible to start an actual compost heap because people don't treat it like it should be treated?
I mean, it's not something that I want to take on. If somebody wanted to do that, I mean, you'd have to really educate people because there's just some things you can't put in there, you know. And
Right. The whole science of composting.
Yeah,
Pardon?
what about if that becomes, if somebody in the community knows about it and wants to do it, I can put that in an email too, because in Northampton, Frank, you, and maybe Mark, no, Mark, you were in Amherst, that we have a big compost pile and on both ends, and we have a brush pile in the middle in the woods. And the compost pile, it does have to be watched, but there are people whose job that is just to take care of the compost.
right.
And of course, it's much bigger.
It's bigger. Yeah, go ahead.
What about if we find someone or a couple of people who want to do that? Couldn't we have the
You could
option?
put out a feeler, see if anybody's interested.
Yeah, create a compost, and then, you know, people just go and get their own compost whenever they want to. It works.
I mean,
out.
I think it'd be great. It's just that you'd need one. From my own knowledge of it, you would have to have one at each end, and there's one that you have to stop putting things in it at one point and let it cook and turn it and be diligent about it. And then the other one is, so you have to switch seasons.
It needs to be managed. Someone who's knowledgeable
And
has to
now it
manage
would
it.
require, I mean, there are people, I mean, there's somebody who got their degree in composting at Hampshire, and they're probably making six figures now, you know, because compost is, no,
That's what I should have gone
there's
into.
a beautiful true science to it, you know. It's a cool thing. It's just, it requires work.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to put out something that says
Okay, yeah, see if we
who's knowledgeable.
we could have someone right under our nose and we don't know it.
I was looking for a project.
I mean, there's so many recipes, and I'm not, that word is for real with compost.
Yeah, got to cook it.
I guess I would contribute. So it's definitely crossed my mind numerous times because I'm totally into compost. I managed an organic farm when I was in my 20s in a
Cool.
CFA in Burlington, Vermont. So I did large scale composting, and I can just tell you the behavioral requirements that will need to be in place to actually get that to work with a large group of people.
Yeah.
I haven't. That's why I'm like, I just can't deal with this. So I'm
It's
just
not going to happen.
Yeah.
It would be nice if it did, but it'd be tough. You're right.
No, I think it's aspirational. I'm totally in support of the idea, but I would have pretty low expectations of it actually like really happening. But if you have good examples in your life to model it on, then that's great.
Yeah, it'd be tough. It would be. I think, again, if we could even get something that was nice and rich and organic that we could use out, you know, in the corridors and stuff, that would always be a plus. I mean, some folks, you know, they just pull weeds up from their gardens. They don't even bang the dirt off the roots, and so there's a lot of dirt that comes straight out of people's plots. But yeah, doing that right is a science, and it's beautiful and it's fascinating. All those little things, those little microbes, they can handle incredible temperatures, and
Yeah, it's totally great.
yeah, no, it's really cool.
You get to have like a big, long 3-foot thermometer and stick it in.
Yeah, right.
Well, if we find the right person, Alyssa, maybe you could help them or coach them.
But it isn't even that, Mark. It's the people who are putting the stuff in the compost pile.
Oh, I know. Like I was saying, I think it needs to be managed, and that requires an individual who would take a lot of responsibility for it. I can get that.
Yeah.
More than one person. I think we would need at least 2 or 3 people. And what, Alyssa, what about if we did, you know, find some volunteers, would you be willing to give a kind of presentation? Could you do something like that?
Share your expertise.
I could do that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't have expectations, but I do have hope.
Yeah.
Yep, that's good.
I think that's great.
Hope is good.
No, yeah, I'd be willing to give, like a basic presentation about sort of ratios and requirements to, develop the heat in the pile and what's really, needed to, for turning and,
Yeah, because you got to get it cooking.
Did you say Burlington?
Burlington,
What?
Vermont.
My daughter was
North
born
Country.
right outside of Burlington.
Your daughter what?
She was born right outside of Burlington. But that
Oh.
might be before you were born.
1969.
Yeah. Well, you were a little one. She's born in 77. Yeah. Well, I love Burlington.
It's a great area.
Yeah.
So how are we doing with our agenda here?
We're pretty much done.
Because my stomach has an agenda too.
Yeah,
Oh, you didn't eat yet.
I just was waiting for the end of all business. We just completed that. So unless there's anything, any new topic, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, Mark moved to adjourn. Frank, you
I
two.
second that.
Okay. Yes. Johnson, okay. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Okay, so again, as a reminder, first Thursday in August.
Oh my gosh, no, don't say August already.
No, then comes September, right, Frank?
Which I believe quickly is
The slippery slope has started.
5th.
It's the 5th. Yeah.
So we're already, it would be the 5th. 7 p.m. And by the way, I think we're probably still going to be continuing on Zoom. The city hasn't totally decided whether to have these.
I'm going to guess they're going to probably go at least another month before we have to meet. And
Yeah.
even then, I just think it's great to have the Zoom,
Yeah.
for,
It's efficient, although I certainly wouldn't mind seeing some of you in person.
oh no, I mean, even when we're in person, we can still have,
Oh, yeah.
there's still going to be the ability. I just don't think this should ever go away. I think
Yeah,
it's
you can
great.
make a hybrid.
There's I mean, I know we have gardeners with kids who would not be able to come to a
Right.
meeting, who could.
Right.
They could at least sit in on part of it if they were home, if they wanted to.
Yeah.
So I really think it's something that
No, just be prepared to continue Zooming. That's all.
I'm not afraid.
Okay. All right. So the motion was made to adjourn. All voted in favor, said yes. We are adjourned at 8:28.
Awesome.
Thank you.